BYU coming off a loss to see if they can get their mojo back at home.
Tonight we'll see the third leading scorer in all of America in Tommy Bruner for the Pioneers.
And he can score in so many ways. Catch and shoot coming off of a screen. Off the bounce, knock down three. Get to the rim, and he gets to the free throw line almost as much as anyone in the entire country. And defensively and offensively off the bench, BYU brings in Jackson Robinson and Richie Saunders. They've been such a punch, and this BYU bench has been so good. Robinson, instant offense. Saunders, instant defense for the Cougars.
BYU number 2 in the country in bench production. So we're going to have to wait a little while to see those guys as the 10 starters are on the floor. Denver at 6-4, BYU at 8-1. They're 5-0 at the Marriott Center. This is the 68th meeting between these two. They used to belong to the Mountain States Athletic Conference between 1946 and 1962. All but 3 of the games in Provo were played at the Smith Fieldhouse. So here's the 4th meeting in the Marriott Center, and BYU controls the opening tip.
And this is a Denver team that went into Colorado State, another ranked opponent, and held their own. Really controlled that game for almost 10 minutes into the second half, led at halftime. So they feel like they can come in here and kill a giant in BYU.
Turnover for BYU, so we look at the starting 5 for the Pioneers. They had a tough one against 13th ranked Colorado State last week, led at halftime and got away from them in the second half. And head coach Jeff Wilburn believes it prepared them for tonight. And a turnover by Jackson Frenchley on the first possession for Denver.
And interesting that both teams turn the ball over. These teams don't turn the ball over. In fact, the University of Denver, the Pioneers, are one of the top in the country this year. Only 7 turnovers a game. That's an incredible number.
Starting 5 for BYU. Nell up for 3. Nell's been battling an illness last week and a half. Still says he feels lousy, but not bad enough to not play. He struggled 0 for 4 from 3 against Utah. Missed his last 5 for a shooter that's been right around 45%.
That's right. We both saw him today and almost in unison said, "How you feeling?" And he looked and said, "Terrible."
Dynamo falling away. And it's Waterman on the rebound. Lots of foreign flavor on these two rosters we'll get to a bit later on. Hall for 3. Cougars expecting to get right back to themselves here on their home floor after an ice-cold night of shooting up in Salt Lake on Saturday. Now on the foul, speaking of Utah, Jackson Frenchley, a former Ute. And we'll see plenty of him tonight. There's Jeff Wilburn in his 3rd season. 32 wins for the Pioneers, 15 last year, the most in the 7 previous seasons. So he's got a rebuild underway with the Pioneers. We had a great visit with him today. And he actually recruited Mark Pope as an assistant at Cal, trying to get Pope from the state of Washington. And Mark chose Washington. And Jeff said that was his first heartbreak as an assistant coach when a big-time player said, "No thanks, coach, I'm going somewhere."
And when you talk to Jeff, he feels like a veteran head coach, like he's been a head coach forever. He's been in the game for a long, long time and coached at P5 schools, a top assistant in a number of places, including Stanford, UAB, Virginia Tech, and Cal, as you mentioned.
Waterman brings it out. Here's Johnson around the back. Nell for 3. And Johnson on the rebound. Now he'll pop a 3 and knock it down. Johnson has been spectacular over the course of his career, 40% shooting threes.
When we asked Mark Pope what they learned about themselves up at Utah, he said, well, we learned that if we stay who we are, meaning push the ball in transition, shoot threes, even when you're not making them, is that Frenchley that gets a point down there, the Utah native, that in the end, we can still be in games, and we've got to stay who we are and be true to who we are. And he said we had a chance to win that on the last possession, even though we didn't shoot the ball well.
Khalifa taps it out to Hall. Here's Nell again.
They're not going to let a few missed threes stop them from shooting threes. I'll tell you that right now. That was the message Mark gave us.
Nell 0 for 3. Here's Frenchley putting one up quick.
And 2 really good shooting teams. Not shooting the ball particularly well early in this game.
Khalifa, 14 straight assists without a turnover. He's backing into the lane. Turnaround left-hander. And the junior out of Egypt gets his first two. When Khalifa's offense catches up to his ability to distribute the basketball, he is going to be a nightmare.
His assist-to-turnover ratio, we're going to show you a graphic in a bit here, is ridiculous.
Basket and the foul. And that is Tianamo going to the line, a chance at a three-point play. Waterman picks up his first.
Nice feed by Brent. He brought the ball on the dribble to give him a high-low feed with a little wraparound bounce pass. Created that angle. We got to give Jackson Brenchley a lot of credit on that one. Set that up for Tianamo.
Tianamo out of Helsinki, Finland. Played 12 games on the national team over the summer. His head coach said that was just such a game changer for him. And when we think of Finnish players, we're going to get Timo Saarelainen, who was a star at BYU back in the 80s.
And Tianamo is, he knows how to get to the free throw line. So I'm already to the line. He's a guy that uses his body. Look how he uses that body to create contact. And he gets to the free throw line. He's 29th in the country, top 30 in the country free throw attempts.
Five to 4 BYU. Johnson's already hit 1 3. Here's Khalifa. Johnson for another 3. Waterman on the rebound, up and in.
When we talk about BYU, keeping who they are, shooting threes. The other thing that's been the hallmark of this team is they're a very gritty defensive basketball team that plays with high effort defensively, does a great job on the ball, and they go after the offensive glass with a passion.
That shot by Lopez Savasente, who checks into the game. Waterman left open for 3. Waterman missed 6 threes on Saturday night. Knocks down his first one tonight. BYU, when you took Nell and Waterman and Johnson's numbers and put them together, 1 for 13 shooting threes at Utah. You may never see that kind of night again from those guys. Battling inside, up with a nice shot is Lopez Sanzacente out of the Canary Islands, Spain. That's his first 2. Another one of the foreign players here on the floor tonight.
And Jeff Wilburn's done a nice job of having consistency. Like, he's got veterans. He's got multiple veterans that have been in this program 3 years, and most of his big-time contributors are not first-year guys.
Dynamo in now with 4. And it's 10 to 8. Still nothing from Tommy Bruner. Waterman again. And Dynamo, who averages 8 rebounds a game, leads the team in rebounds. BYU just 2 of 10 shoot the 3 out of the gate. And Tommy Bruner just quietly biding his time. He's number 0. This is Craig. Now they distribute into the corner. A blocked 3-point shot. That one offered by Adon Ankra.
Trevor now got a piece of that. And I kind of ISO'd on Bruner that time down. He's got Spencer Johnson in his hip pocket. Oh, what a move.
Johnson.
That fake pass
He's got
was
5.
something. And Spencer Johnson, BYU's best on the ball defender. Most consistent defender over the last couple of years.
And look who he's assigned to.
Yeah, he has been, and you see again, he tips the ball and creates the turnover.
That's off of Craig. It'll be BYU ball.
Pinned to Bruner's hip all game long so far. He hasn't seen the basketball because of it.
Timeout on the floor, 13:31 to go here in the first half. And Spencer Johnson wheeling and dealing down low. Cougars 5-4 on Big 12 now on ESPN+.
In current assist-to-turnover ratio. The number is staggering. He's got 23 total assists and just 2 turnovers in limited games. Again, he's got to play in 75% of the games for it to officially count, but he would be number 1 as a guy that stands 6 feet 11 inches. Of note, Jackson Brenchley, representing Denver, is number 11 on that same list at 4.1 assists to every turnover. Guys?
Thanks, Spencer. And at practice today, we asked Khalifa, hey, you're having fun? And he goes, Yeah, I am. A big smile on his face. He's getting a lot of minutes now due to the Traore injury. He's on the bench now. This is Jackson Robinson, Richie Saunders.
We talked about these two in the open. When these two come off the bench, things just happen.
And they happen right there for Saunders. He's got 2 at 13.
And
Saturday at Utah.
I mentioned Jackson Robinson's instant offense. Richie Saunders is instant defense. But they're both unbelievably capable on the other end of the floor as well. Robinson's an excellent defender, and Saunders is a very capable scorer. So they bring a punch like no other. One of the best benches in the country this year is why BYU finds himself number 3 in the net.
Speaking of bench, that's where Bruner is at the moment. And Atiki Aliatiki picks up his first foul. BYU number 18 in the AP Top 25. They're number 17 in the coaches poll. More importantly, they're number 3 in the net rankings. And Mark Pope told us today that number means everything to BYU, even in December.
He said that's one of the major points that they use, data points, to determine NCAA tournament, whether you're invited or not, what your seating is. He goes, yes, it's important. We pay attention to it.
Isaiah Carr, 7-footer out of Las Cruces, New Mexico, gets his first 2. Robinson gets his first 3.
There's Mr. Offense that I was talking about. And BYU right now, this lead, 7-point lead, they have 3 offensive rebounds to none for Denver. So those 3 extra possessions have equaled 5 second chance points. That's the difference in the game right now.
Inside of the 7-footer. Blocked by Johnson. Brought down by Atiki. Johnson back to Saunders. Richie's got 4 quick points off the bench.
And all 4 are a result of how well he's moving without the basketball. Coming out, going hard on an outcut, putting his foot in the ground, going hard on the cut to the basket. And teammates finding him.
Largest lead, 9 points for BYU. Craig picked up by Saunders. Now he's got it in the switch. Hall tapped out, but right to the Pioneers. Craig for 3. Out of bounds. And off of Tyson Garf, another Utah product out of Kaysville, Utah. Timeout, 11:32 to go. In the first half, 19-10, BYU on Big 12 now. Tomorrow night on ESPN is the Women's Volleyball National Semifinals. 7 Eastern, Nebraska and Pitt. 9:30 Eastern, Wisconsin and Texas out of the Big 12. Winners will meet for the National Championship Sunday on ABC. Back in promo, 19-10 BYU, 11:32 to go here in the first half. Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler, and Spencerland.
BYU so far holding Denver to 35.7% from the field, to 5 of 14, and 0 for 4 from 3. BYU doesn't get enough credit for how good they have been as a 3-point defensive basketball team, one of the best in the country. Just 23.6% from that 3-point line, our opponents shooting against BYU.
Trey Stewart in the game, running the point for the Cougars. He's got the ball. Nell on the baseline, foul going up.
And now we really saw Nell for the first time this year because he's just his last season was completely injury plagued, and his reputation was this guy's just a knockdown 3-point shooter. He's a spot up guy. He's going to be on the outside. What he's shown us this year is if you push up on him and you're not balanced up, he'll put the ball on the floor and go by you, and he makes floaters and he gets to the rim. He's a good free throw shooter. So he's got a complete scoring game. He's not just a spot up 3-point shooter.
BYU struggled from the line, just 10 of 18 on Saturday at Utah. We mentioned Nell's been under the weather. And he'd probably appreciate us saying that's affected his 3-point shot.
Well, and
he's got a point so far tonight.
They've been a solid free throw shooting team.
Quick timeout as Bruner got caught in the corner. BYU surprised the Pioneers with some full court pressure. We'll keep it right here.
Yeah, their number for the season now is 72.5. It was up around 75 before that last game, and so that free throw shooting performance up at Utah was an aberration, if you ask BYU. The trap came. Bruner didn't have anywhere to go. They weren't expecting this. There was no release valve coming to the ball until it was so late, and so we get a timeout, go over and talk about how to break this press. Caught them off guard when they changed the defense.
Denver's out of the Summit League. They're picked 9th among the 9 teams in the preseason poll. And the last time BYU faced a team from the Summit League, last December, we were up in the Delta Center in Salt Lake, and South Dakota came in and stunned the Cougars 69-68.
And did they ever shoot and play D? And this, as you mentioned, this is a rebuilding project for Jeff Wilburn. 11 wins in his first season, in 21-22. Then they jumped to 15 last season. And he says there's steady progress. They want to improve on that 15 this year. And he's building it with guys that he hopes will stay in the program over the long term.
Tommy Bruner, number 3 in the country in scoring, averaging 24 points. Still looking for his first bucket, and he gets his pocket picked by Stewart, and then he gets it right back and takes it in for 2.
He was patient enough not to reach that time. Sometimes you see that frustration foul after a steal. That time he just played solid defense and got the steal.
Saunders gets his own rebound, knocks it in. 6 off the bench for Saunders.
Shooters know how it comes out of their hand and which way they're going to miss. It's like, oh, that one's a little long and to the right. So he tracked that ball down, knew exactly where it was coming off, and got the putback.
Bruner. This is Brenchley. To the Latter-day Saint mission to Taiwan. Mentioned he played 4 seasons at the University of Utah before moving over to Denver.
We asked Mark Pope, how do you defend with his scoring prowess and a guy that shoots 46% from 3, and we're going to go back and watch Bruner steal. The ball got stolen by Trey Stewart, and then watch Bruner. He waited for the opportunity, got it back. Mark Pope told us he's so proficient from 3. We actually want to run him off the 3-point line. We want to be there on the catch. Don't give him open 3 looks. If he's going to score, we want them to be inside that 3-point line. And BYU's done a really good job of being there on the catch so far.
Now up for 3. Out of bounds. Last touch by the Pioneers. And the Cougars will keep it. Pedro Lopez San Vicente checking back in. Trevin now 0 for 4. Now 0 for 8 in his last 2 games. Shooting the 3.
As you mentioned, he's not just sick tonight. He's been battling an illness for about a week and a half. So his strength's not up. And, I don't know if he's been getting as many shots as you normally get in, but he definitely would love to feel better here sometime in the very near future.
Here's Stewart looking for a lane to the basket. Now wheels and deals. Finds some space. Trey Stewart with his first 2.
Good footwork that time. Kept that pivot foot down. Rotated around the pivot foot.
Our officiating crew tonight, Gary Maxwell, Kelly Self, and Mike Reed. Brenchley takes it in. Bodies hit the floor, but Brenchley's got 4. And Jeff Wilburn said, I love the savvy that Brenchley plays with. A lot of experience. The Tiki. Over to Stewart. Now Robinson. This will go to Denver. The miss was so bad it bounced all the way back to half court. No one was sure who touched it last. But the Pioneers get possession. BYU 55-10 at the Marriott Center under Mark Pope in his 5th season. Brenchley matched up with Saunders, pair of Utah kids. Bruner up for 3 over the long arms of Robinson. That didn't have a chance, and it's out of bounds.
You see, Jackson Robinson's got Bruner on switch. Never left him to help. Was there when he came around the screen on the catch to defend, and then Jackson Robinson is 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. That's how you contest a three-point shot. No easy looks for Bruner in this game so far.
Pioneers are 0 for 5 shooting threes. Robinson from way outside. Brenchley chases it down. There's outside and then there's way outside. Beautiful pass. And the finish by Dynamo. He's got 6. And the Cougars a little sloppy here. Turn it over. Takes us to a timeout. 7:54 to go. 24-16. BYU. You're on Big 12 now on ESPN+.
Check. QB of the future? Division on lock? Check and check. MVP case? Brotherly love? Check. Brotherly shove? Check. Football weather? A season that's still anyone's season? Check, baby. NFL on ESPN.
7:54 to play in the first half. 18th ranked BYU leading Denver 24-16. Earlier this week, star shooter Jackson Robinson was speaking about the fact that he comes off the bench as the leading scorer for BYU and doesn't start. And many in the Big 12 basketball community and around BYU are wondering, well, why doesn't he start? He just said, and I quote, "I'm focusing on what I can control. My minutes are something I can only partially control, but for the most part, it's up to the coaches. So I'm just making sure when I get into the game, I'm utilizing the time that I have making winning plays and make sure that we are winning," end quote. So, guys, clearly he doesn't really care when he gets onto the floor, just that when he's on the floor, he wants his team to win.
Thank you, Spencer. And he leads that bench. They average 40 points a game, second most in the country.
And the thing I noticed about Jackson Robinson this year, not only is he more confident on the offensive end, he has really dedicated himself to playing lights-out defense on the other end. And that's why he gets extended minutes. He's on the game, it's on the floor at the end of games, because they know he's going to give a big effort on offensive board. Watch him at 6'7", and with that 7-foot wingspan, his lateral quickness is that of a guard. Look how difficult it is for Bruner to get by him.
Shot clock's at 2, so Bruner goes up. Nailed on the rebound for BYU.
BYU not shooting the ball great from 3, obviously, in this game, 3 of 13. But they've been good again at offensive rebounding. That's an effort thing. They're +4 in offensive rebounding margin, +9 in second chance points. That's how they're ahead in this game right now. And they've been doing this game after game where they dominate the offensive glass.
Lob inside to Atiki. Back to Robinson, up for 3.
And then they do that. And then they get on a roll, and then they run away from people. At Utah, BYU had a miserable shooting night. They were in the game at the end because of their offensive rebounding prowess throughout the game. That kept them in the game.
6 points for Robinson. Johnson, Waterman, and Khalifa, and Craig check back in.
This is, in my opinion, the easiest kind of 3 to make. Inside-out threes. So it's down in the post, and you're set with your feet square on that three-point line, shoulders square in a shooting position. The ball comes out right at shooting level, and he catches it. It's just an easy shot. Inside-out is the best way to get threes.
Trevin Nell picked up his second foul. He's out of the game. Here's Bruner. Slicing in. Waterman, his 6th rebound. Robinson calling for the ball in the corner. It's back to Waterman. Blocked from behind, at least partially deflected by Bruner. Now it's Bruner out ahead. And Waterman makes him have to change mid-flight, and the follow doesn't go. And Khalifa is fouled on the rebound. Good hustle to get down the floor for BYU.
We've seen Waterman do this more than once this season where he's trailing in the break, but he knows with his 6'11" height and his ability to bounce and get up off the floor that he can stop layups on the other end in transition. He did a great job again there. Hustle play by Waterman.
First foul on Isaiah Carr. BYU ball 27-16. Nearing the 6-minute mark of this first half. First of 5 straight home games for BYU. Robinson again. He's got 3 threes and 9 points.
And when he's feeling it, the ball just flicks the absolute bottom of the net. He's dead center, and the ball, you can just hear it snap through that net.
Bruner again into the tall timbers and denied. Robinson out ahead. Loses it on the dribble. Craig's got the steal. Inside the arc. And now it is Johnson chasing it down. Robinson another three. Waterman fouled after the rebound by Craig as the pace has significantly increased over the last couple of minutes. BYU up 14. And that's the first foul on Craig.
And Denver's been doing a decent job defensively against BYU in this game. But on the offensive end, BYU's length has really caused this Pioneer team some problems making shots.
All for three. Now they're all starting to drop. That's the first bucket for Hall. Biggest lead of the night so far for the Cougars.
And Jeff Wilburn told us the problem if you're trying to defend BYU is that they have, at any time on the floor, 4 legitimate elite level three-point shooters. How do you guard them when they're spread out and have good spacing?
Lopez San Vicente. Denied by Hall. Here comes Craig. Swoops in with the one-hander.
Really nice shot by Craig over the top. Good help defense there in time. Craig, the freshman out of Mount Carmel in Chicago.
Khalifa has Johnson open for three. Frenchley out with it. Waterman gets it to Hall. We come back the other way.
That's 8 boards now for Waterman here in the first half.
And bad pass by Hall and a turnover for BYU. Here's Frenchley. Craig slicing in. Denied by Robinson. And out of bounds. Stops the clock at 4:13 to go. Here's another look at Jackson Robinson.
We've been talking about that ability to help on the defensive end. That's the third lockdown for BYU in this game, but the jumping ability, that length, the timing, goes up and gets that.
Atiki is back in, Khalifa out for the Cougars. Tyson Garth returning for the Pioneers. Craig hands it over to Frenchley. Foul on the shot. That's Tyamo. And he'll be at the line when we come back. 3:57 to go here in the first half. Second foul on Atiki. Cougars up 33-18. Here on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. What's that Sesame Street song? One of those guys is not like the others. There in the middle, you got Tyler Haws, the all-time leading scorer. To his right, Jimmer Fredette, he's number 2 all-time. And Jerem Jordan is the host. He's on the far left, and that's the crew coming up at halftime. Danny Ainge's jersey. Danny Ainge is third on the.
Yeah, and
he's the only jersey up here in the rafters.
He's usually here. I just looked down to see if Danny was in the building. I don't see him down here tonight, but how's that to have the top 2 scorers in history? And a lot of nights, you know, we've got Jim Moran, Tyler here, Danny, got the top 3 scorers in history of the building all together.
Big as it gets.
That's something.
3:57 to go. 33-18 for 18th ranked BYU. And at the line is Toku Tainamo.
Tainamo is 77.6% free throw shooter this season. Really skilled big man at 6'9" and 220. See the nice rotation on the ball.
Spencer just listening into the huddles. What do you got?
Well, we'll start with Coach Wilburn in Denver, who was really upset with his team and kept asking them, why are you not being aggressive? It feels like they're settling for, in his words, terrible shots, and pointed out that BYU's pace is affecting them too much, both offensively and defensively. Now, interestingly enough, in the BYU huddle, the BYU coaches said, our pace is giving them problems. So these coaches are on the same wavelength, guys.
Thank you, Spencer.
Well, and Coach Wilburn told us, remember, and we're like, yes, we do remember this, that when you miss shots badly, it leads to easy buckets on the other end, long rebounds and transition buckets. And he said, we have to take smart, good shots tonight, and we have to take care of the ball. They're doing a decent job of taking care of the ball with just 4 turnovers. But I would agree with them. They've had some bad shots, long rebounds. BYU gets out and runs and gets easy buckets on the other end.
Craig's got it. Waterman with the block. Hall into the corner, Robinson. Now they'll try the other side to Waterman for 3.
Reward him for the block. He gets the block and controlled the block, got the ball to the outlet, ran the floor, spaced himself out, and knocked down a 3.
He's knocking on the door of a double-double here in the first half. 8 points and 9 rebounds.
If you bring a kid and just illustrate exactly what Waterman did that whole time on defense and offense, and that is what you're supposed to do. Exactly what he did.
Johnson knocks the ball out of bounds.
He comes out, and this is help defense. Gets the block, controls the block, doesn't swat it. And then he runs the floor, spaces himself out on the floor, and gets a beautiful look at 3. That is just a fantastic job on both ends of the floor of doing what you're supposed to do. Coming over and helping, getting the ball out, and running the floor.
Already a career-high 9 rebounds for Waterman. Open 3 and knocked down. The shot is Ado Enka. His first bucket of the first half.
And Enka's been shooting. He's the second leading three-point shooter. Shoots 45% for this team. He has second most in attempts. 23 of 51. Now it's 24 of 52 for the season.
Robinson. Kickback Hall. Now it's Johnson. Back to Robinson from the corner. That's his 4th of the half. And 12 points.
And that was so pretty. Robinson passed on a 3 that was contested. Drove in. Then he gave the ball back up to the perimeter and ran to the opposite corner. BYU moved the ball all the way around the horn and found Robinson again. And when you're in an offense that you know, if I give the ball up and I move, I'll get it back. There's 1 pass, 2 pass, drive and kick, back to Jackson Robinson in the other corner, this time wide open. Sharing the basketball, that mentality, that unselfish mentality makes you want to give it up and make a better pass.
Robinson from the other corner into the iron. And Craig's out with it for Denver. Under 2 minutes to go. Spencer will talk with Mark Pope here in a moment, get his assessment of this first half. And the story for BYU defensively is Bruner has just 2 points. Out ahead is Hall for 2. Assist to Waterman, and Hall's got 5.
BYU's length just continues to give this Pioneer offense problems.
Back-to-back turnovers by Carr. Bruner comes in, Carr goes out. Saturday afternoon, it's a Big 12 doubleheader on ESPN2. Texas and LSU, the first game in Houston, and then right after that one, it's Houston and Texas A&M. Both games on ESPN2 and the ESPN app on Saturday. Khalifa to Robinson for number 5. Not yet. And here's Bruner on the run. All the way in. And scores with 4 Cougars around him. He's got 4 points. Johnson to answer right back. Foul going up. He'll go to the line as Brenchley picks up his first. Boy, the pace just about 8 minutes ago.
It just really picked up.
BYU averaging over 95 points here at the Marriott Center. They're sitting at 41 late in the first half. Feels like a few minutes ago they were at 22 and
we're thinking
looking for answers.
Denver's doing a pretty good job defensively. Then BYU hurried him up.
Johnson's an 80% free throw shooter. We talked about his 3-point percentage for his career, over 40%, just one of 12 in program history. Post Danny Ainge when it wasn't a 3-point line. Got his first Division I double-double at Utah on Saturday with 10 points and 11 rebounds. He's got 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. So far tonight, he's been a key figure in keeping Bruner from becoming a factor on the defensive side. Gets them both to go down. 7 now for Spencer Johnson. Final minute. And that Cougar lead back up to 18. And Johnson, BYU's best on-the-ball defender, assigned to Bruner. And he loses it out of bounds. Frustrating first half.
I like that Bruner has said, I'm not going to settle for contested threes. These guys are too long. I am going to attack, and this time it's Khalifa's quick hands knocked the ball off of Bruner's leg and out of bounds.
Bruner just 2 of 8 from the field here in the first half. 30-second timeout called by the Cougars.
And in this second half, Denver's going to have to make some adjustments where they're going to have to figure out a way to get him some looks. I mean, he's running all over the place, but BYU has a great advantage is they've got so much length on the perimeter that they can switch ball screens or screens 1 through 4. So other than the 5, anybody that comes and sets the screen, they just switch, and that guy takes perimeter. And they all have length, and they've all got quickness, and that makes it tough when you're running all over the place trying to rub off the screens, and they just keep switching.
Coming into tonight, number 3 in the country, averaging 24 points. He gets to the free throw line an awful lot, and he's an outstanding three-point shooter. But BYU has kept him in check. He's 0 for 3 shooting threes, and it seems like all 3 of them have been at the end of a shot clock for the guy in his face.
And with a long arm extended. Like shooting it out of a silo.
Whenever you shoot out of a silo, it's hard.
It's hard to make anything. It really is.
Hall for 3. Knocked out of bounds. That might have been get a shot off so you get an extra possession. Because they didn't waste any time putting one up. And they will get another possession with 37 seconds to go in a half. And the shot clock, about a 6-second difference. Craig Bruner steps inside the defense and rattles out.
And that was a rare good look.
Waterman out ahead of everyone. And Noah Waterman with 10 points to go with his 10 rebounds. His first career double-double. And it comes in the first half.
He has been impressive. His effort level tonight has been off the charts. It's been really good.
Forced up again. Waterman another rebound. Here's how the half will end. And one of the best for Noah Waterman after a frustrating Saturday up in Salt Lake. When it